my senior year of high school, after I committed to Notre Dame. Being in Indiana, there's pressure of playing basketball, and I was actually really good at it. But I decided to not play basketball my senior year. Instead, I got a job at Burger King. And
Wait, you got a job at Burger King instead of playing basketball?
my senior year.
So I'm assuming after football season ended,
instead
of lacing them up, you went and flipped burgers.
We won our 4th state championship in a row.
Okay.
At Bishop Lewis High School, and I opted to not play basketball. I got a job at Burger King. I knew I wasn't going to, this is pre-NIL. I knew I wasn't going to be able to work in college. I wanted to get that experience of serving people. So working at Burger King, I got a chance to put smiles on people's faces.
But I know that felt crazy when the basketball team came in after the win. It was like, and you're like, hey, what do you want to eat?
Yes, absolutely.
Can I have your order?
It was the Burger King I worked at was adjacent to my high school.
Oh, and your classmates came through for sure.
Absolutely. So but getting a chance to learn about people, that was the earliest thing in business that I learned, how to serve.
When a guy comes to you, Michael, a professional athlete, let's say he's an NFL player, and he's looking for help, what's one of the first thing he asks? What do guys need?
Well, a lot of the time, they don't know what they need. I mean, a lot of the time, they have a lot of liquidity. They have a lot of capital. They're so entrenched in the sport, and they want to keep the main thing because it's what's earning them this money. But a lot of the time, they don't even know what the end goal is, what the plan is. Where's the end target? Where am I trying to end up? And it's hard to build something when you don't know the destination.
What are you looking forward to the most this year?
Honestly, I'm excited. It's probably most excited I've been in a while, going into a season. And when I first got to Dallas, I kind of had the same excitement. And it's like, it's just like a breath of fresh air. We got obviously a new head coach, Coach Shoddy, new D coordinator. Not for me, I had Coach Flus and Indy.
Yeah.
So I know what he brings to the table. Obviously, just the culture we've been building these last couple of weeks with the guys, and the messages and stuff that Shotty's been preaching to us, and just the camaraderie too that guys been building. You hear that a lot with teams, but
so Shotty going easier or harder on you because he knows you?
50-50. I ain't gonna lie.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. It kind of depends on the day. I mean, I really wouldn't say it's necessarily easier because I feel like everybody kind of got a chip on their shoulder about what we're trying to prove this year. So it's like, the days where you try to take it easy, or if guys feel like they're going to take it easy, somebody's going to be going overboard to make you push to where, there's not really no easy days off, So, it's a great thing right now. I feel like what we're building is going to be special this year, a lot more special than what people think. And I'm looking forward to it.
Talk more about what inspired you to build your brand.
Then I got hurt this year. I was down bad. Like, football is what I do. Like, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm down bad. I'm on crutches. I can't walk. And then somebody, I can't remember who, but somebody was like, why don't you start a business? Why don't you go back to business school? Why don't you go back to school? Like something, because, Ole Miss got the after football program.
Yeah.
So you go back to school however many years you want to get however many degrees you want for free.
Yeah.
So I decided, so I was working out once I got to walking and stuff, I started working out at Centers Fit. And then I was just noticing girls, like, they was just all taking pictures, like just posing, taking pictures. So
trying to look cute.
Yeah.
Trying to get the IG story.
So I was like, dang, like, I think I should sell like clothes, like athleisure wear. Cause like, especially on this journey of me being hurt, I got to work out a lot. I got a whole year to fix my body. So me being able to wear the men clothes and stuff, it helped out, because they're like, oh, where you got that from? Me getting samples of and just wearing it out, and me showing, giving out stuff to like Dak's wife, D-Law wife, and all. And I was like, yeah, I would totally buy this. Like, how much would you sell this for? And I'm like, oh, that is a 4-piece set. I'll sell it for $100. It was like, what? Lululemon selling just a jacket for $100. Like, I'm like, and it's the same quality.
A second. Whoa. Before we get into the rest of the episode, man, I'm hungry. I got a high metabolism, and good thing my friends at Huel have supplied me with some of the best protein powder on the market, and I've genuinely been taking this. It's 40 grams per serving, and it's tailored for athletes, not just for active ones, but for guys like me, who still still hoop a little bit. I know some of you guys lift, hoop, run, etc. I take this sort of after my workout. You can take it in between meals. 40 grams per serving, all right? I enjoy the vanilla. There's also the chocolate flavor. You just put in the water, shake it up, get you some of that good protein, great nutrients. And we have a discount code. Come on. I wasn't going to leave you with that discount code. 15% off using the code athletes and assets. You go to huel.com/athletes and assets. You can get this bad boy on the low. It's also in the show notes, huel.com/athletes and assets. So fuel your best performance with Huel today. I'm telling you, I use this stuff. All right, let's get back in the episode.
I think you mentioned early on in your career, you had no clue, what money management was. What was that turning point for you?
At 11 years old, made the decision of, okay, I really want to get into entrepreneurship. I didn't know how. I didn't know what angle to go into. Didn't have any business education or knowledge at all. Didn't learn it in my household. By the grace of God, Micheal Ledo became my mentor when I was about 14 years old, and he taught me the concept of learning how it's okay to think.
What do you think it takes to invest in the right AI unicorn? Because ton of these companies are raising at incredibly high valuations.
Getting access to the cap table and seeing who the strategic investors are. A lot of these AI companies, you're going to have some that's going to fail because they're not being pushed and powered by the big VC firms, right? They're not getting the $100 million check. They're not getting the $20 million check. They might get $1 or $2 million, but that's not going to be enough to compete with some of the other companies because they'll have so much more capital to kind of burn through.
How do you tell an athlete no?
I'm not afraid of being fired by a client, and I'm not afraid of firing them. I mean, really, it's about value alignment. At the end of the day, if we don't have value alignment and what you said you want, your actions aren't showing that that's what you want. And when I got to hold you accountability, like we're just at a fork in the road.
Yeah.
Really, it's about, it's about harmony and it's about alignment. And so we're not going to force anything. If that is lost, there's no hard feelings. We'll just keep it moving.
What was your welcome to entrepreneurship moment?
When my FA financial advisor told me about taxes, and we went up to this pop-up shop. So we went up there. I sold 167 items that day within 3 hours. Showed the financial advisor like the invoices and all that. I had to pay taxes.
Uncle Sam.
So
Uncle
like
Sam
like whoa. I'm thinking like, oh, this was a good day. But then, but that was really the welcome in part.
What do you think is a quality about Micah Parsons that people don't talk about enough that he brings every day?
He's hungry. Like, it's funny because, as special as Micah is, talent-wise, like, man, he comes to work. Like, you've been seeing, I'm sure you guys see him all offseason, one day he might be in Italy, but the funny thing is, like, when he's in Italy, like, he's working out.
Sure.
You see him jogging with, his friends and stuff like that. So I'll say he's hungry. Like, he's not one of those guys that's kind of, content with where he's at, because obviously he's a special player. Mike can go out there and play with one eye and go out there and have 2-3 sacks in a game. So, man, he's special. And, when you're special like that and you put to work with it, that's Hall of Fame. That's Hall of Fame. So I'm looking forward to his career. He's young. Obviously I feel like he's going to play for a long time, and he's just going to be a wreck to have for as long as he's in the league.
We've seen a big shift lately in my world, I'm sure yours too, from cash to ownership.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is now some of our biggest influencers and athletes are a part of that category because they're people of big audience. That's what I mean by influencer. Are becoming the go-to investors, either investing in brands and taking good percentage ownership or starting their own stuff and leveraging, because it's a bigger long-term play.
I was actually presented an opportunity to invest into all of Mr. Beast's stuff.
Mr. Beast is a great example. Mr. Beast is one of the first $1 billion creators, right?
Yeah. I was in I think they had like a allocation of like 2 million or whatever, and they would like raising like check sizes in like 50K increments or whatever, or 100K increments. But like I chose not to because I feel like it's already like $1 billion company, and like how much farther is it gonna go? Like, but I did get a lot.
But then it feels like de-risked, right? So like I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I can. Like, why would you not invest in Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Do you think because of the Protector of the Year award, there'll be more holding penalties? Because guys are not trying to let go of the sack.
I don't think there'll be more holding penalties. I think you're gonna see. You might see a lot more pancakes, man. It might be a lot more
A
nasty.
lot more
out here.
breakfast.
Yeah.
What was your welcome to entrepreneurship moment?
One of my first moments was when I had that company and I ended up selling to the PE firm. They had like a strategic integration team around me as the CEO that was helping me with business strategy and development. And I didn't want to stretch myself. I wanted to just stay in what I knew I did well and delegate. And I hate finances. I hate financial modeling and all that stuff. And so I was trying to push off the budgeting process. And this guy was a really good finance guy, had a great background. I was trying to get him to do it for me.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you need to do it. You need to do this financial process. And I'm like, bro, it's going to take me forever. And so the guy was like, you need to do this. Man, I think that thing took me 100 times longer than it would have took him.
Yeah.
But when we came out of that, the way I understand corporate financial spreadsheets now and forecast and budgets and balance sheets and whatever, I probably never would have developed that understanding and skill set. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm great.
Yeah.
Still don't want to do it, but I clearly understand it now.
Man, the locker room's great.
Why is it so crazy? It's just like, what is the craziest amenity in that thing?
I think really what makes it so special for me, because I'm not really a guy that goes in there like want a fancy locker. It's more so the guys is what make it so special. Because you go in there like you'll see 5 guys playing ping pong and other guys just sitting there chopping it up. So honestly, it feels like a barbershop in there because there's guys that you can really go in there, talk to, and just relate to on a daily basis. Like I want to say right before we got out of OTAs, they was having like a ping pong tournament, and the reporters come into the locker room and there was no interviews done. None.
A lot of deliverables that needs to be kind of like, put on the forefront. We make sure that it's nothing that's going to interfere with what I have going on, or we make sure that it's not super, super crazy.
What's a good example? Give me an example.
For me, I'm not real big on like posting on IG. So
Right.
like I'm more so like I repost whatever my wife is like really doing or whatever. And then like if that's something that I need to post, then I'll post it. But I'm not going out of my way to give you 10 posts a month. I'm not going out of my way.
That's not the way you want to earn your equity.
No, I'm not. I'd rather like show up to events, speak to people, talk to people. If you have like a show you want me to go on and promote, I'll throw the plugs in, do all the promotion, tell you about if it's an energy drink, tell you about the energy drink.
Yeah.
Why you should drink it, why why is it so good? Why do I drink it and use it on a daily basis? Like all those different things. But as far as like just sitting there by my phone and trying to like come up with posts and, obviously like they'll send, post this and all this other stuff, but that's not who I am as a person, as an athlete.
If you want it, you got to see it with a
Clear-eyed view.
And that's you, man. Talk about that. Why, what does that motto mean to you? You use it for how you evaluate, life, business. Like, talk about that mentality and that phrase, clear-eyed view.
Clear-eyed view is my core value, how I go about making business decisions, personal decisions, friendships, family. And it's broken down into 3 pillars: focus, vision, determined belief, and earned dream. A focused vision is all about having a laser beam focus. That determined belief is about having a self-belief, believing in yourself that you can get the job done, believing in others, understanding that there's people that believe in you and prove them right. Don't worry about proving the naysayers wrong. A belief in God, understanding that he has your back. And then earned dreams is all about, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
What work are you willing to put in to accomplish that goal?
How are the needs of your NIL clients or future NIL clients different from your professional athlete clients?
They're actually very similar, as the NIL clients are starting to make such money. Like they're making so much more money. And so it's a lot more similar than what you would think. I think it's less activity, more focus on education and more focus on infrastructure, making sure that we have taxes, the accounting, making sure that we're helping them understand the use of money, right? And just getting everything pretty much on NIL is like a head start to NFL. And so now what we would usually do with a rookie, we can do with someone in college, so that when we make this seamless transition, we can it's no wasted time. Athletes, because of what they don't know and what they don't understand and the lack of emphasis on understanding and education, they make a lot of costly decisions that they feel like they can just make up later, but there was lost opportunity.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to avoid lost opportunity with NIL.
Everything's going to be because of the apron. I mean, you only have maybe 5-6 teams that got cap space because everybody's overspent on trying to get a third star, or they're overspent on guys that they shouldn't have overspent on. So now you're going to see a lot of movement with teams trying to shape shift their rosters to get under this second apron, so they don't. Because if you don't have a chance to win a championship, why are you spending $100 million in luxury tax, right? Why are you spending $50 million in luxury tax?
But the Celtics could.
I mean, they could, but their timeline is messed up now with Jason Tatum hurt. Your timeline is doing it now. He's not going to play the whole year next year, so he's probably going to come back the following season, right? And then, so do you keep all those guys and pay $150 million, a $200 million payroll?
Wow.
I mean, $250 million, a $200 million luxury tax.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. The second apron is a crazy role. How do you feel about that? As a
I
former player, or a current
feel
player?
I feel like the second apron is crazy because it really in my situation, it really stopped me from getting on the team this year. Because
there's no space for vets.
Because if you sign a vet, you're talking about that vet salary, which is like $4+ million might turn into anywhere between 12 to $15 million for a team that's a repeat offender in the tax.
Yeah.
So if it's a team that's a repeat offender and that's in the second apron and it turns to $16 extra million, you're like, okay, now I just went from 150 to 166 for no reason at all. And let's, truth be told, they're not going to be looking to play me. I'm, year 17 and all this other stuff, but they'll definitely feel like I can help the team. But it's just like, okay, how much is that value?
I talk to a lot of athletes, and their biggest criteria is, can I sit down and get to know the founder or my business partner for a long time without having to do anything transactional? You see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you want to be able to, the relationship management of the management team is one of the most important parts of the due diligence. It's just not looking at financial reports, right? You got to go through legal diligence, accounting, financial diligence, but that management team diligence, like we always say, it's not about the horse, it's about the jockey. It's about who's riding that horse.
Yeah.
When you get into entrepreneurship, you know this, and what you do and the ecosystem you guys have developed. When you're doing these startup companies, these investment companies, you're investing in the founder a lot more than you are the concept.
Right.
Final collegiate game, I get a career-threatening injury where doctors said I would never play again. And I still entered the draft, got drafted. Instead of being a top 3 pick, I was drafted in the 3rd pick in the 2nd round by the Dallas Cowboys. So when doctors said I can never play again, that's where the clear eye view stepped in. But then also, this is the first time the game was ever taken away from me. My rookie year for the Dallas Cowboys, I had the red shirt. So all of this time away, in the mornings, I'm in the meetings, I'm rehabbing. And then when I'm going home, it's, okay, how can I maximize not being able to play right now? Let me work on my other part of myself, which is learning to become a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I learned was, so being an athlete entrepreneur, it's about delegating and elevating.
Sure.
I had to learn and master how to delegate because Jerry Jones has hired me to be an expert because I'm an expert at linebacker.
Yeah.
Mark Davis, currently, I'm in my 10th season. Mark Davis has hired me because I'm an expert at playing linebacker.
Yeah.
So in order to run my enterprise, Jaylon Smith, ENT, or 9 enterprises, the biggest thing for me was about, okay, making sure that I partner with the right person that can help me scale and grow.
So how do you make sure whoever you're partnering with on your endeavors is doing their shit or is the right person for that?
The thing about it, it's a 50-50 chance, no matter where you cut it.
Okay.
There's a notion of, you got the right horse, but not the right jockey. The jockey matters more than horse, in the sense of operations, having successful and strategic execution plans put in place. These are all things that I look for as I'm navigating who am I going to partner with.
Yeah.
Now, in the instances that the business hasn't gone well or I've needed to get out of it, A lot of it had to do with not the product or not the horse, but it had to do with who was I partnering with and what core values did they have that didn't or wasn't aligning with my clear eye view.
Yeah. If he doesn't get hurt, do the Pacers have the banner?
Absolutely. 1,000% taking it back to
You sure?
Indianapolis. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Halliburton, I'm telling you, Halliburton, he was going for 40.